Welcome back to another edition of the Rural Report. I am your World 2IC, and today we are going to continue our coverage on the Israeli conflict. Now, to start off, no, I am not being targeted. That is the green light on my microphone. But real quick, this might be quite a video, so if you need to come back or watch this on a replay, I fully get it because I've been trying to make my videos shorter. I know your time is extremely valuable, but while I was taking notes, I did front and back. I've got a ton of things to cover. I will try and hit the notes. Some of them I'll leave them as just what they are, it's just a headline, let you go in and let you look into it. These are just the important things that I thought need to get out there so that way we can go through it. Some of the other ones I'll try and talk through. And these are in no particular order. I usually try and run them down, but today I'm just going to read these off and we're going to go from there. So, first one I have is Qatar, or Qatar, however you pronounce it. I pronounce it Qatar. Quote, if the bombing of Gaza doesn't stop, we will stop gas supply of the world. Now, that is a huge hit for Germany. Germany gets a lot of their gas supply from Qatar. Qatar is not, in the Russia and Saudi Arabia kind of, supply, but with that threat, I mean, that's just going to make, the demand for petroleum and gasoline and things like that, that's going to make prices go nuts. So again, we talked about this in past videos. We're talking about it again. Make sure that you are prepped and stocked up on your fuel. Next, houses in Berlin where Jews live, unknown people are marking them with the Star of David. Now, I thought that was kind of interesting and important. That could be just some random, kids doing something, teenagers, young people, whatever, that they're just trying to get some sort of a stir out. They're trying to do some social media thing. They're trying to, whatever the reason is. Or it could be something much, much more nefarious. It's just an interesting thing. It's kind of like a history repeating itself. It's one of those ones I'm keeping an eye on. Let's move on. We talked about this briefly. There was 3 bomb threats over in France. They closed down the museum, the train station, and the Palace of Versailles. And I was keeping a very close eye on that because that was all in one day. There was video out about it. There was official statements out about it. That it just all happened way too quick. It was just one after the other, and that's just insane that happened. And it was kind of a thing that I kept a good 50% of my focus on that because I really thought that something more could come from it, but I also didn't want it to be a diversionary tactic because as far as I can see clear up until today, nothing went off. It was just a threat. And which brings it over to the actual action side of a threat. Today in Brussels, there was an active shooter that left 2 dead, several injured, and they're kind of talking about this being a terrorist attack. Time will tell. As far as I can see, is the time of me coming on here and doing this video. They have not caught the person. Brussels is going to be one that I'm going to say to keep an eye out. You'll probably see Brussels a lot more in the news. I will probably be mentioning Brussels a lot. There's just something going on in that area. Keeping it going, the Iranian foreign minister says if the IDF enters Gaza, then Iran, Hezbollah, and the Iraqi PMU will actively enter the war. Again, we're going right back to this. This is just threats for right now. Now, the tricky part about a lot of these threats is they're giving an ultimatum. If you do this, then this is what happens. And what they do is they put the ball in your court. We're going to do this, waiting for you to trip that line. And the only way that you're going to find out if this is just words or if this is actionable words is if you cross that line. Now, hopefully they don't, or hopefully it's just an idle threat. Um, I I don't know what to say. From the looks of it, Israel is dead set on going in. Something's holding them back, and I don't know if it's the threats of this, if there's intelligence that this is not just threats. I don't know if the U.S. or somebody else is actively saying, "Hey, do not do this." Something is holding them back. That whole rain story that they couldn't go in, not buying it. Um, it's just I get it to open the book, look at it, and close it, and go, "Oh, okay, just bad weather." No, there's more to it than that. Let's keep going here. There is supposedly official talk that Biden is going to visit Israel in a couple of days. Hopefully not. I'm not going to go political. I'm not going to go for or against or anything. To have a U.S. official that is leading a country go into an active war zone is monumentally the worst idea. You would have to pull back if you were the host country. So much troops, so many defensive things. We're going to have so many defensive things. You're not going to tell me that you're going to take somebody like that into an active thing with a handful of Secret Service. You are going to have a ton of military presence in there. This is not a good idea. I saw some rumors that he canceled it. I heard Pinball say that he actually refused. He didn't agree to it. Hopefully, that's what officially comes out and he does not go. That would just be bad. Next is a massive fire in Tripoli, which is in Lebanon. Unknown who did it or how it was done. There's rumors that it was an Israeli airstrike. If those rumors turn out to be true, if you do not know where Tripoli is on the north side of Lebanon. That's bad because that's not just border, skirmish anymore. You are striking on the other side of the country, deep into the country. The videos that I was seeing out about it, I mean, that is a massive, massive fire. That's kind of not really a breaking, but that's going to be a developing story, and it's going to be interesting to see if something actually comes out of this. Somebody takes credit, if this turns out to be an accident, or if this is going to be another one of them, sea pipeline things of, hey, this happened, it's huge world news, sweep it under the rug, we'll figure it out later. Next, Hezbollah has been targeting surveillance towers on the border. Now, I thought that was interesting because of surveillance towers, which, we have similar things on our southern border here in the United States. That is, a person can only be in one spot. And having cameras, it allows you to visually see a lot more areas all at one time. You do not attack surveillance cameras, usually, unless you don't want to be seen with whatever you're doing. Now, they very well could be doing it just to do it, just to kind of ruffle some feathers, just to get a shot in, something like that. More than likely, they're doing this because it gives them an element of surprise. I take down the towers. You have to physically send somebody out there to see what I'm doing. U.S. selects about 20,000 troops to prepare for a potential non-combative deployment to the Middle East. Now, that is interesting because, as we reported before, we already have one aircraft carrier strike group in the area. We have a second coming in. We already have a bunch of fighters. We now have A-10 Warthogs. We now have strategic bombers. We actually had 2 bombers leave today. One was going to South Korea, and I forget where they said the other one was going to be headed. I actually got on ASB Exchange and watched them go right about to Alaska-ish, before the trace disappeared and I couldn't track it no more. But we're sending a lot of assets overseas. So that's something to keep an eye on, to what else are we going to add in the coming days and weeks and things. Next one is an interesting. There is actually talks about Israel that has bombed the Rafah border crossing, but on the Egyptian side. Now that's going to be extremely interesting if that comes out to be the case, because now, because Israel has been kind of testing. Yes, you have Hezbollah and you have different groups or whatnot that are lobbing missiles in. And of course they're going to retaliate back. Absolutely. But when you lob something across the border, because, Hezbollah is going to be in Lebanon or Syria or whatever, and lobbing it this way, when you lob it back, you are doing it in another country. It'll be the same thing as if there was Group Purple up in Canada. Yes, you're going after the people that are shooting at you, but you're bombing Canada, So, and I think I saw a report that the Lebanese army actually stumbled upon a missile launch site from Hezbollah that they had to get in contact and say, hey, we're going to take these down, dismantle these, don't fire upon us. Which would be interesting if that, turned out to be the case and on all that. But it's going to be interesting to see how much of these surrounding places take of this. There's only so much that you're going to do, because you're either going to get the people that are causing you harm, get them out, or you're just going to be like, hey, you're attacking me, I'm going to attack you back. And more people are going to enter the conflict. So it's going to be interesting to see how these countries that are surrounding this conflict deal with this. Okay, moving on. The Iranian foreign minister, quote, if we do not defend Gaza today, tomorrow we have to deal with phosphorus bombs in our own hospitals. Now, I've already said this in another one. I didn't cover the phosphorus bomb thing because I can't prove it. I've seen both sides. I've seen them where they said yes, and I've seen them where they say no. It sure does look like it, but I can't say for 100%. And I get kind of what they're saying here. No, I'm not backing, I'm not sympathizing or anything like that. But it's one of those ones that if you look at it and you're this person's getting hit, and if once that person is done with this one, they're going to turn your attention to you. So you got to help that one out, so that way you don't take the next conflict, if you get what I'm saying. So I get it. I hope it never comes to that, sort of thing. There's a lot of how you want to do this, escalating dialogue and threats and different things that are going on. The next one, this one kind of slipped under. I barely caught this one. The Army actually announced plans to cut unnecessary maintenance on vehicles and firearms. So not only can we not hit our recruiting, and not only can we not clothe our under-recruited people with the proper camo, now we're going to ask them to be in and train with under-maintained vehicles and firearms. What can go wrong, Another side note before I finish on one more thing. You need to probably keep an eye out and an ear out tomorrow. Tomorrow, Russia is supposed to go to the UN, and introduce a ceasefire proposal. Now, this is interesting because a lot of your big major players, your Russia, your China, a lot of the other ones, they're backing Palestine. And so if you can get Russia to come in and actually negotiate a ceasefire, which would be amazing, it'd be great to have a ceasefire. This helps BRICS out immensely. This all of a sudden, hey, there's this huge conflict, it's boiling over, there's talks of World War III. and all of a sudden Russia comes in and saves the day. Uh, that's not a good thing for the United States. We're over there, we're actively trying to negotiate and do all this stuff, and then here comes Russia with the diplomatic, proposal to the UN, and then all of a sudden everything calms down. You're going to see a major bump in BRICS. Mark my words on that. Will a ceasefire, if they do negotiate it, will it last? No, it never does. But it's one of those ones, even if it lasts for a year, that's bad for the U.S. It's good, and if the ceasefire goes, there's just at least a small window of less bloodshed, and it would be definitely good for mankind. But we'll see what happens. Just an eye and an ear open for that for tomorrow and see what comes of that. I'm going to end on this. Now, this, and I know you're not going to be able to read it, I made this list, and this is on the Global Conflict Tracker website. So they keep track of all the different global conflicts that's going on between just instability to actual conflicts to civil wars to full-blown war, etc. And while I was talking to somebody actually today, and I said, man, there's so much going on in the world. And they're like, oh, are you just talking about this or this? And I go, no, what about this and this and this? And they go, what are you talking about? And I think the overshadowing of media and other presence on just one or two main things, it just takes over everything. People lose sight that all around the world, there's, just bad things going on. And that's what all this talk is about World War III. So I'm going to really quickly run down this list. And then maybe, if I get the time, I'm going to take each one of these individually, and I'm going to do a short video-ish on them to expand, because there's probably a good half, if not more, of these you're probably not even aware of. So the first one is the criminal and cartel violence in Mexico. Probably deserves a video. Next is the instability in Haiti. Okay. Next is the instability in Venezuela. Okay. The instability in Afghanistan. Okay. The territorial dispute in the South China Sea. Good video. The North Korea crisis. We can go into that one. Instability in Pakistan. Conflict between India and Pakistan. So not only is Pakistan dealing with internal problems, they're dealing with neighbor problems. Keep in mind, nuclear powers, okay? Now you have confrontation over Taiwan. So that's your China-Taiwan incidents. There's still the civil war going on in Myanmar. You have the war in Ukraine. You have conflict in Syria. You have instability in Iraq. You have instability in Lebanon. You have the conflict, between Turkey and Kurdish groups. You have the Israeli-Pakistan war currently going on. You have currently the civil war in Libya. You have the war in Yemen. You have a power struggle in Sudan. You have the confrontation with Iran. You have the conflict in Central Africa Republic. You have the conflict in the Republic of the Congo. You have instability in South Sudan. So not only are they having a power struggle, but they're having a lot of instability. Probably go hand in hand. You have a conflict in Somalia. You have a conflict in Ethiopia. I mean, if you pull up a map, there's a dot all over the place. And there's a lot of these that we can go into and make a decent video out of. Some will be just a couple minutes long. Some of them we can probably make a 15-20 minute video on. I did that just to show there is a ton of things going on all over the place around the world. It's not just what the media puts out. And I read those off to you, and I know that's took a minute or two of your time. Pick one of those. Dive into it. See what's going on. It's real easy when it's out of sight, out of mind. It's 2,000, it's 5,000 miles away. It's crossed an ocean. What does it have to do with me? It spreads. One little domino. We're all connected in the world by trade and by money and by everything else. One thing goes, and it dominoes to the rest of it. It all affects us. So, hopefully, we got all that out of the way. hopefully that was some good info for you. If you made it this far, then thank you for staying put with me. I know I've got some people that have been there with the beginning. I need to do a shout out video to some of you guys that's been with me for the beginning of this. I know I've picked up a ton of new people. Um, I know it kind of looks like with me not sharing the little things right here, it kind of looks like my little kind of shadow banning algorithm thing has gone away. My videos are starting to come back. So that's kind of an interesting thing to find out. But I'll do the real quick thing. If you're new here, welcome. This video and all my videos I post is just to get you some awareness, and this is a channel just for the beginning prepper. So if that is you, amazing, you found us. If you have any questions or comments, drop them down below. If you know somebody that is just getting into prepping, send them our way, and we'll do what we can to help everybody. Congratulations again to the winner that we did a giveaway to. Make sure that you stick around because we will be doing our Christmas giveaway announcement very soon, probably within the next week or week and a half or so. Probably about $100, $125 value so far. Probably going to be adding some stuff to it. Really excited to put that one out. So with that, do all the fun YouTube things. Hit the like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. That way you can be notified of all the future content that we put out. With that, more information to come. Remain united. We're all prepping in this together.